fucking Dick Gregory and Jerry Lewis back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
Dick Gregory, I didn't know him well. I knew him very casually just from being a comedian. You know people. And I saw him at the Improv probably 6 months ago. And I was doing a guest set next door. He's headlining the show. The guy's fucking 84 years old, just kind of slowly puttering across the parking lot to go on. Like, what a fucking machine.
Did you watch him on stage?
No, I went on and did a set and then left and went out to eat. I had to go somewhere. But still, just the idea that he was walking around ancient doing shows was,
and performing. Yeah,
yeah, it was really great.
It was amazing because he died on Saturday, Dick Gregory.
Yep.
And looking on Instagram and stuff like that, at everybody posting the old photos of him when he was a young guy.
Yeah.
Because I only associate Dick Gregory as this older guy with a big white beard, and that's it. But looking at him as a young guy with either no beard or a very trim beard or whatever, like he looked like a different person.
This footage of him, I've seen footage of him with introducing Bob Marley. At some gig, opening for Bob Marley. He knew everyone. He was a big civil rights activist.
Yeah.
Was that him with Martin Luther King?
Yep.
Was that actually him?
Talking to him. Yeah, he was in the seat next to Martin Luther King. That's him right there. Did
you see the thing I tweeted out? I watched the video.
By the way, look at that idiot in this photo that's like sleeping next to the two of them.
You're hoping he's awake.
But talk about a bad, even if he's just blinking, like talk about a bad time to keep your eyes shut. That would have been a great photo to have. I mean, that's a great crowd to be in the front row there. He's next to Dick Gregory, who's next to Martin Luther King, and his legs are stretched out and his eyes are shut.
Richard Pryor really respected him, too.
Martin Luther King, a lot of people did.
Dick Gregory.
Oh.
He respected Dick. I tweeted out a video of Dick Gregory snapping at some interviewer.
I was watching it last night from your Twitter.
And he was, the guy was, black guy talking about Hollywood. I think the guy was asking a legit question. But Dick Gregory really, all the entertainers that, we all get self-important sometimes, but I've always been from the school that I'm not changing shit. And I've always said that, and it's not my responsibility to fucking worry about how you react to my dumb jokes. Go fuck yourself if you can't handle I don't believe that entertainers are fucking, we may make some points, but we're not changing shit. And to hear him saying it, I was so happy. The fucking way he spitted at this guy was great.
It was funny, too, because the guy is really trying to relate to him.
Yeah.
On a level.
But Dick Gregory, just jump into it like a minute. It's an 8 minutes. I'm not watching 8 minutes, but it was so much fun.
So the interview is basically about this guy is talking to Dick Gregory about the way black people are portrayed in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And
does Hollywood need to do anything different?
Yeah, what it does to the community.
That's what this is about. Because it seems it's apparent that Hollywood right now only wants to see us as slaves or shucking the job.
You into Hollywood. Hollywood ain't liberated us. We ain't got the right because of Hollywood. Did you see the movie Selma?
Yes, sir.
You see where the church got blowed up?
Yes, sir.
That was in Birmingham. It didn't happen in Selma. So why you expect anything out of Hollywood, man? Huh?
Because it seems that we've been brainwashed and conditioned through one, fear, and also, like you said, misrepresentation of our character and our voice.
But Hollywood's not going to straighten that up. If I want to know how old you are, I ain't going to ask Hollywood. That's their game. That's their game. And only black folks who ain't going to do nothing think you're going to get something out of a goddamn entertainer. That's your fault. You look at the world, huh? Brilliant brain surgeons, and they didn't get it from Hollywood. Why do you keep running back to that? You with this mic here can do more to change things than Hollywood. So what is this about? You talking to the fucking master, man, and you keep asking me the same thing. I ain't some punk on the street. I said it ain't about entertainment, and I'd be insulted if a bunch of niggas get together and try to liberate my through jokes and comedy. It's never happened, so why we think it's gonna happen?
That's great. I mean, for 8 minutes he talks about, and he basically talks about how he calls them athletes, and how fucking it's just entertainment. It doesn't mean anything, and he's right.
How bummed would you be if you were that interviewer, though?
Well,
Immediately, he's taking the steam out of what he wants the entire thing to be about. And the guy...
the entertainer's not being... The guy's not being a dick. The interviewer's not being an asshole. He's
No,
just,
not at all.
Dick's just being cranky.
He's panicking a little bit.
Maybe Dick had a brain thing because there's other footage of him online interviewing on the radio where I was listening over the weekend where he's just snapping at people. He's just fucking guys asking him a question about some FBI document they'd opened about the Kennedy assassination. No, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Malcolm X's assassination. So the guy asked him a question in a way that he didn't care for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll never come on this show again. But he was so when people get really old and cranky like that, sometimes I think they had a brain tumor because brain tumors make you cranky and they make you snap. So maybe that's what he had. That's my guess.
Or he's just a guy who's sick of it.
But he's still got to be aware of when people are being dicks and when they're not. He's not stupid.
Sometimes you live through so much. Like the people that
have.
Well, the people that he dealt with. This is a guy who dealt with Dr. King, who dealt with like real people. To then go into a radio show or some guy with a microphone and a camcorder and be asked stupid questions. He's like, how dare you even talk to me like this? Do you know what I was doing? I was hanging out with Ali. I was hanging out with Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting here with a ridiculous hat on and a microphone in my face, not getting it?
Yeah, he didn't like. I guess he put things too much stress. He wants to be seen more of a civil rights activist, and as a guy who did something where he thought he might get fucking beaten up than someone that went on stage and told jokes.
Right.
Because he was in the shit. I kind of don't blame him. He's the real deal guy. He was.
Yeah,
he
it's
wasn't
funny.
some fucking fake social justice warrior. He was a legit guy.
That's a great point. Like he's sitting there, like we were just talking about with guys like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, really. And instead of people talking about that, they're talking about how he changed things through his jokes. And he's like, no, what?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I actually did real civil rights work, not jokes about it, and then it changed everything.
Do you want to talk to President Obama?
Does he have an opinion on Dick Gregory?
He's got something. Yes.
I didn't know. Wait, President Obama, you are locked in to the asylum.
Hello, Mr. President.
This is President Obama.
Well, thank you for calling, Mr. President. Oh, God damn it.
Edgar pranked us. I heard there's this Edgar guy that keeps calling up shows across across the platform. He apparently got Nick DiPaolo too.
Oh, did he get Nick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't Nick just hang up on him, though?
I don't know. I didn't hear the clip.
Nick's a white Dick Gregory. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. I don't know. Hopefully Edgar will just go away and not friggin' sit around.
Yeah, stop pestering these shows.
Yeah, the last thing we
They
want
hate it.
is for stupid Edgar to sit here for the rest of our show and then do something stupid like call Covino and Rich a whole bunch of times
Yeah,
or something like that.
They don't like it.
No, and I don't either. So don't do
We
that.
played the clips, though, just to show you how wrong it is.
Yeah, just to show you how stupid it is. You can tweet it to at Jim and Sam Show, or you can tweet it to me personally at Not Sam or at Troy Kwan, at Jim Norton, whatever you want to do. But again, we'll play it to scold you, not to glorify.
And Jerry Lewis did that last interview he did, that really awkward. That was the last interview he ever did.
So Jerry Lewis died on Sunday.
Yeah.
Dick Gregory was how old?
He was 84 and Jerry Lewis was 91. Comedians just live a long time. And again, I've always speculated it's because you get so much of that bile out through material.
Huh.
Like you vomit emotionally all the time. So a lot of stuff, it's harder for it to fester because you're always going up there just fucking spitting it out. And you have a place to talk about stuff. And I think that's probably half what ages people is the fact you got to sit there on all this shit and you have nowhere just to...
Right, let it out.
Yeah, there's something satisfying. Like, very rarely do you walk off stage and ever feel angry.
Right.
Like, unless the show is bad. But if it's a good show, no matter what the subject, politics, fucking rape, murder, you feel great. So it's like, maybe that
plus,
helps.
I think in your personal relationships, most comedians are just so brutal that, like, you don't have that, nothing goes unsaid. Like, you're not going to sit there and try to be nice to your friend. You're going to tell him, shut up.
Yeah, you do.
You know?
Although I'm much nicer now than I was.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
You get older, you just change.
You're just like, I don't want to be mean to people anymore?
No, it just doesn't feel natural. Like, whatever feels natural, you do.
You know what would be nice?
What?
Watching the McGregor fight at your place?
That's true. I can think of something else that would be nice that I'm hopping on a plane to do.
Yeah, you're not nicer to your bros.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not nice. You're rude.
Funny, my bros didn't care about me during the other fucking fights. Now, all of a sudden, this one.
We didn't get invited.
It's true.
That is true.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up, maybe I'll do this at my house. And then you're like, actually, no. And then all the bros were like, what the fuck?
I didn't know Jerry Lewis. I met him a couple times. Once at a roast at a Friars Club. It was a roast we did for Terry Bradshaw. So I got to talk to him a little bit, and he was actually really. He was nice to me.
Really? He had a terrible reputation.
He did, but again, I think Jeff Ross introduced me to him, and he liked Jeff. And he knew I was one of the comedians on the roast, and he's usually not a dick. I don't think the comics that were doing a thing. So he was friendly when I spoke to him. He took pictures, and he was nice. And I think the time after that I met him, he was fine. I think he remembered me, but I didn't know him. I never spoke to him for more than a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Just casual chatter.
I really hope that that Holocaust Clown movie comes out now. Now that Jerry Lewis is dead, I've been wanting to see that Holocaust Clown.
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Day the Clown Cried?
Yeah.
The Clown That Cried? Something like that?
Something,
I think The Day the Clown
cried.
Yeah. It's about a clown in World War II, Germany, I suppose, who...
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be good if it was Denver.
No.
Make a clown in Denver.
Yeah.
Oh, Jews are being killed and it's snowing.
It's the rogue clown.
Yeah. Clownison.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
Oh, the clown cried.
You mean...
Your bank, the clown is crying. I don't know why everybody's so sad. The clown is crying.
Wait a minute. Joseph Goriab, the clown?
That's what it was.
Helping the kids in World War
Yes,
II,
it was.
Nazi Germany?
Yes, it was. Oh, cheer up. I'll walk you to the chamber.
Yeah. So
There was a movie about that, by the way. Wasn't the
Patch Adams?
No, what was the clown movie where he was in? It was Robin Williams played him, I think, or no?
Patch Adams?
No. A Beautiful Life. It was a guy in the Holocaust.
Roberto Benigni.
Who
and he
was,
won. And he won. Yeah. That's Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
And he won the Oscar.
Yeah.
And he walked on the back of the chair like, I won the award. And then his career went nowhere.
And he was a clown who was in the Holocaust. I don't know if it's a true story or not.
It wasn't. So this movie that Jerry Lewis made that never saw the light of day, he plays this clown. He directed it too. It's supposed to be his first dramatic,
A serious role.
directorial,
Yes.
directorial and acting. He starred in it, and he plays this clown who is making fun of Hitler in World War II, Nazi Germany, and the Nazis catch him, and then he's got to entertain as a clown. He's got to entertain the kids in concentration camps. And his quote was, it's either better than Citizen Kane or it's the biggest piece of shit to ever get put on film.
Well, it's been
Or something like
donated.
that.
Two years ago, he donated it to the Library of Congress. They said possibly it's the sole copy in existence. The condition was that it not be screened in any form until 2025. That's 8 years from now. That's not crazy. Go up a little bit, but they said there may be legal problems more. It was never released in theaters because he couldn't secure the rights for the film from Joan O'Brien. She's an actress and a writer who co-wrote the original script with Charles Denton. So there was a legal reason. And the producer lost the option. The film shortly before began, leading Lewis to spend $2 million to get the project done. But when the woman saw the cut of the film, she refused to approve it, and an agreement for release was never reached. She died in 2004. So they may not be able to.
Well, she's dead. And Jerry Lewis is dead. Let's just put the motherfucker out. Wow. Everybody's dead.
It may be
Deader than the Nazis. Let's put it out.
it may not be released, but you can still see it at the Library of Congress. But
You
it's almost
can't
like
go to the Library of Congress and watch
in
it.
2025 you'll be able to. It's almost
Put it
like
on
they may screen
iTunes.
it. There's this whole thing where the fucking Jackie Kennedy donated her jacket on the condition that she was wearing when he got shot, that not be shown for 150 years. I guess so immediately. But why?
150 years.
For fucking what?
150 days. That's enough time. 150 years.
All this shit they don't release with the Kennedy assassination. It's like, what are you guys doing? You
Yeah.
have the information. Fucking. That is why the government's hard to trust, by the way, to digress for 10 seconds. Because these fucking assholes keep stuff secret they don't have to. No one cares about the Soviet shit in the 60s anymore.
No.
No one gives a fuck.
Well, that's the gimmick, right? Because that way, when they finally release the information, nobody's checking it. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
Just put the movie out on iTunes, throw a couple extras in, I'll get it when it's on sale, and we're good to go. I want to see this thing.
Someone has a comment on the movie. Yes, Sean Den, go!
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, I was just going to comment.
Hold on, welcome.
That movie.
Hey, man.
Jerry Lewis went on the record a couple years ago. You can find the clip on YouTube. But he has asked, I guess for years, his publicist told everyone that he was not going to answer questions about it. But
Right.
he finally did. And he said that he was able to contain the film. I don't think the film ever really officially got 100% finished, but he said he saw that the writing on the wall, that it was terrible, and his words were, quote unquote, he was glad that he was able to contain it, and that it is never going to get out there. It is never going to be released. However, Harry Shearer has apparently seen it in some kind of way, and he went on the record as saying it's just so creepy.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
reading.
maybe that's the problem.
I was reading this morning. I was reading about what Harry Shearer said about it, and he said it's the weirdest thing you've ever seen. But yeah, I mean,
It's probably just not a great movie.
it's probably terrible.
Yeah.
It's probably terrible. But I want to see it. I want to see it badly. And I understand he says it's never going to see the light of day, but how about an over my dead body scenario?
Okay.
And now we have his dead body. So let's watch the thing. I want to
Didn't
see.
a good chunk of it leak like a couple of years ago?
There was new footage of it that was leaked, but it was
From some other like documentary.
Yes.
Was it a
Yeah.
different language or it's got German subtitles?
Yeah.
I've seen this.
yes. Yes.
But this was huge news because like this was the most anyone had ever seen.
Is that him?
Right.
That's him, right?
That's him. That's Jerry Lewis, the Nazi clown.
He's trying to light a cigarette off of a weird candle that keeps going out.
Look at that. What a great trick.
I've seen better.
You have?
Yeah.
Not in a concentration camp, you haven't. Can't get a cigarette lit. You know what we are going to light?
The cutting around is really bad. The camera work is bad. It's very close-up stuff, obviously intentionally, but it's just weird.
Yeah. And then it's in German. So it really, like, we don't know what they're saying, but it was just about seeing footage at all.
Of this movie.
Just any footage, because now it's this confirmation that it exists.
1972 film, yeah.
The movie's there.
I do like the way Jerry talked about Dean Martin. Like, he fucking loved Dean Martin, and like, it wasn't like a bad thing for him to be part of a team. Like, you know what I mean? He looks back at that. Jerry Lewis was not the king of comedy. He was funny, and he was a really funny physical comedy, but he's not the king of comedy.
I was
No.
watching last night their reunion on the telethon.
Martin and Lewis?
When Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Ah.
When was that, Travis? Do we have that?
Yeah, I know it's definitely online because I watched it last night. But Frank Sinatra didn't tell Jerry Lewis that Dean Martin was coming out, and they hadn't seen each other in like 20 years.
What a
Let's see if we
prick
can-
that Sinatra was. Huh? He's like, I'm the only one who can get away with just
Yeah,
springing this on him.
exactly.
Was it 76?
Yeah, that's it.
Let me see it. Okay.
Because what's he
I've
gonna,
not seen this.
What's he going to do? Get mad at Frankie Blue Eyes? I don't think so. I'll have him killed.
Another check for $1,000.
This
from
was
the
20
Stardust
years
Hotel.
after they last spoke.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Wow.
And the organization, $5,000 check.
They didn't talk in the 60s, huh?
Two grandchildren, Amanda.
Man, tuxedos
AJ
looked so
Lambert.
stupid back
Where's the
then.
help?
Big bow ties,
You do
ruffles.
that one more time, we're going to buy the furniture.
Frank
He's Kiss Sinatra.
He's making gay jokes.
I have a friend who loves what you do every year and who just wanted to come out and say, would you send my friend out, please? Where is he? We just send him out here. Come here.
Wow.
There he is, Dean Martin coming walking out. I think he dyes his hair.
Yup.
He's smoking a cigarette, though.
And they just hug.
Ah, we hug any closer, we're gonna buy the furniture.
All right, break it up. Break it up.
They did have fun back then as entertainers, though. Oh, he's crying.
I think it's about time, don't you?
What a girl.
I think
Yeah.
it's about time.
Oh, he's trying not to cry. Jerry was trying not to cry.
Well, we folk. You son of a bitch.
He said, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
I wonder
you
why they
son
stopped
of a
talking.
bitch.
Wonder what happens. I mean, I can't say I wonder what happens. I've seen it happen.
Entertainment's weird.
Yeah. You're just done with each other.
Yeah.
Boy, in entertainment, when you're done, you're done.
It's finito.
When you're in ABBA's done. When
Yeah.
ABBA finished, they were fucking done. Maybe
Fuck
that's what
him.
it is.
Yeah, you're just done sometimes.
That was nice. Imagine a 20-year reunion in 76. What a long life you've had. To not.
Yeah.
Did they not speak since 56? I don't know if it's that long, Travis. That's got to be wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
Wow.
They had a falling out.
If Travis said it.
But wait a minute,
it's gotta
when did
be
they do their
wrong.
show? Wait.
I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. All I know is what I read. They had a falling out. Dean Martin blamed Jerry Lewis for the falling out. Jerry Lewis blamed Dean Martin for the falling out. They didn't speak for 20 years.
46 to 56. You're right. They did not. Wow. They had a. They did a 10-year show. The time of that is so amazing. 10 years from 46 to 56. Then they don't talk until 76, and that was 40 years ago from now.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
holy fuck.
So the time in 76, they'd been not speaking twice as long as they were a pair.
20 years. Yep.
And
That's
but
crazy.
that rekindled their friendship, and they stayed friends till Dean died.
He's dead?
94?
That's a bummer.
Oh, they did stay friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because Jerry Lewis, I've seen him talk about Dean Martin, and he's very loving. But he was also the king of comedy. Is my favorite thing he ever did because he was such a great cunt in that.
Yeah, well, I think. Like, did we have that interview? The last interview that he did? I would like to play a little of that.
Yeah, that was really uncomfortable.
The awkward Jerry Lewis interview.
And I watched another one that was like probably from the same year from a guy who just knew his stuff better, and Jerry Lewis was great.
I like the awkward one.
I do too.
Yeah, that's it.
But he was being a total dick.
He was. The guy comes in. I think this was what magazine was it? He was going to be one of the.
This was a Hollywood Reporter.
Right, as
They
one
did
of
like
the
a comedian thing.
100 comedians or something.
Yeah.
You wonder why they did that. Like, why did he do this?
Well, yeah, he agreed. So they came into his house to film this, to shoot this thing, and he agreed to it. But I guess he just walked in the room. He wasn't there when they were setting up. When they were ready, he just walked in the room and gave him a heaping helping of nothing.
I think he was annoyed that they were there, that they were moving stuff in his house. He's 90 at the time. He didn't want to do it.
Somebody else must have given them permission to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm 33 and I wouldn't want people in my house. Like, I don't
Touching
wanna,
your shit.
No, I wouldn't want to
Yeah,
do
what
it.
if they moved all like your wrestling dolls?
I wouldn't. Well, that's.
Put him in a box. Hey, we put your wrestling dolls in a Frigidaire box. We asked your son to move your wrestling dolls.
Yeah. We put him in the Frigidaire box too.
He's got sticky hands. He's moving all your shit. Little Edgar.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that at all. I'd be ornery too when I was doing an interview. They go, do you think comedy's important? I'd go, no.
Let's see how long it is before he gets cunty.
Okay.
How far into it before he turns into a twat?
That's a great question. Little audio, Troy?
I'm trying.
There is no try.
Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. Sorry.
Was there never a moment that you thought it might be time to retire, or you would want?
Why?
You come from a generation a little older, and I think of Bob Hope, George Burns, Sinatra, people you knew, many of whom didn't want to or never retired either. Do you see similarities with them?
None.
None. What do you think drives people like you and them to want to keep working?
Because we do it well.
See, I love that hip pause. I love that one.
He couldn't find a one-word answer.
Right. He was trying to find the least answer that he could. And he's wearing such friendly colors. He sits down. He's wearing a yellow polo under a bright red sweater.
Yeah.
Looking like Ronald McDonald without the paint on.
Like a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking like, oh,
It's an orange sweater. Is it orange?
Yeah.
This is friendly Jerry Lewis. No, it isn't.
Nope.
No.
Why?
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 Have you ever thought about retiring? Why?
Sometimes you got to call somebody out when they're being. He's 90, so you don't want to scream at him, but you could address the fact that he's being awful.
I mean, you can hear the guy asking the questions like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, the guy does try.
He tries.
What's different about performing now for you than say 20 years ago? How is it different for you?
It isn't.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Have you made any? Do you have to make any concessions to being, older in your performing, or does it? How do you keep the material fresh for yourself?
By working at it.
No.
You've had
I love that they left it raw too.
Yeah, me too.
a number of health issues over the last few years, as many people your age do.
Anyone that's 90 does.
Anyone that's 90 does. Continuing to work, does that actually help you get healthier? Does being sort of busy and engages. Do you think that actually helps you get healthier?
No.
Like, do you
Pause for a second. See, the interviewer, as he's asking the question, he knows he's going to get a no on this one.
He's trying to find one thing. And by the way, it's funny that the two things we're playing are these guys just being dicks in interviews, like Dick Gregory.
It's the best.
These are more entertaining to me.
I like when old guys get ornery.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's also the interviewer's fault. Like, he didn't, like, pivot and start asking questions that aren't yes or no answers.
Yeah, and he also stuck to one thing, which is, hey, you're old. Like, he just stayed on the you're old topic.
But they were all old. That was the subject of the people he was talking to, people over 90. What did Jerry want him to talk about? Fuck, it's like you're 90.
At this rate, I think I'm going to be this grumpy by the time I'm 42. I give myself that long. I'm already about 3/4 there. Anthony was in here asking me the dumbest questions in the world this morning, and I was answering them like Jerry Lewis.
The funny thing about Jerry Lewis too is he just knows he's the king. Like he's on top of the fucking mountain as far as entertainment. I almost say king of comedy, but I don't think you are. But he knows who he is. He knows he's Jerry Lewis. And when you're Jerry Lewis, there's no one in show business that can fuck with you. And you know that. The Hollywood Reporter doesn't mean anything to Jerry Lewis. To me, that's a big interview. Jerry Lewis doesn't give a fuck about the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
Or any magazine. Because
Who cares? He's beyond publicity at this point.
Yeah.
Was he really that big in comedy?
Yes. Jerry Lewis, he really was. And again, I say he wasn't the king just because I think there were so many funnier people. But yeah, he's so way before our time. But he was a massive, massive star. And he stopped doing stuff. Don't forget, he hasn't been really relevant. He kind of stopped in the 80s, really. He didn't do that much after that.
I wonder if he was mad that, he had all his, like, nice lady, like, all his, like, Nutty Professor stuff. Then Eddie Murphy comes around, and then all these little kids are running around going, spandex, all spandex. And they're like, there's a new Nutty Professor, and nobody's even thinking about Jerry Lewis anymore.
By the time he did those fucking telethons,
yeah,
he had already been famous for 30 years.
I mean, that's what you have to keep in mind, right? Like, when we see the Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis reunion, it's a 20-year reunion. That means 20 years before that, he was the biggest thing in comedy. And the reunion was 76.
I'm guessing they were both like 52 when that happened, that reunion.
Yeah.
53. Let's watch another minute of this. This is enjoyable.
It's great.
No.
Just staring at him.
You've been
He's so flustered.
you've been coming to
He's looking because just as he's trying to think of a question, Jerry Lewis is looking at somebody in the distance just with this look of pure disdain.
Yeah.
Just disdain for the person that's in his house.
I wonder what led up to this. Something must have happened beforehand.
You are not worthy to be asking me, the king, these questions.
Well, people just get grouchy.
Yeah.
I love
This
it.
is even beyond route. This was like a purpose. This felt like he had a purpose.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah, this was a real fuck you.
I don't really know too many old people at this age that are very happy, nice people.
Yeah, you get to be a bit of a twat when you hit that age.
I mean, Don Rickles did an interview like this, and it was great.
I guess so, but Don Rickles got to make a career out of insulting people. Like, there was, even though it was like lovable, he got out a lot of realness throughout his life.
I bet Jerry Lewis walked in the room, realized how unprepared and uneducated this guy was, and was just decided to be an asshole.
Did he ever answer questions about this, or did no one ever ask him? Being that this was his last interview.
Well, if this was his last interview, who's going to ask him about it?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. What did he ever talk about?
Not that I know of.
You've been coming here for a long time. How is Vegas different for you than when you first came here? When was the first time you...
Hey, pause. Stupid question. He already said performing now is not different than performing.
Well, now he's
20
trying to
years
ask him
ago.
Vegas in general. He's trying to broaden beyond just doing gigs.
So maybe he can admit, because anybody with Google Maps can tell you, Las Vegas looks different now than it did 20 years ago. It's definitely different now than it was.
He's trying to put Jerry in a place where he has to answer something.
Right.
You performed in Vegas.
1947.
Can you tell me what Vegas was like when you first showed up?
It's not. It's the same.
It's the same?
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about Vegas that you like, or what is it about, like, how would you describe the
See,
place?
You can't just do one word there.
No,
How would
no.
you describe?
I just love that he's saying it's exactly the same.
But it's not.
Because he said Vegas is exactly the same as it was in 1947. Do you know how many buildings have been demolished and put up and then demolished again since 1947 in Vegas?
It's not. It's not the same because even as an entertainer, the mafia used to pay you. The mafia ran the town. It was an extremely different town back then.
You ever seen that movie Casino?
I've not.
You've never seen Casino?
No.
Have you really never seen Casino?
No.
Holy shit, dude! You got to see Casino.
Is it good? I've seen clips of it, but I've never watched it.
Amazing. It's
I've never seen Casino.
No.
It's Goodfellas.
That's
good.
yeah, that surprises me.
Okay.
Just because of how good it is.
You got to see Casino. Casino is Goodfellas level good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I've seen Casino. Stupid question. Have I seen Casino?
It's not a stupid question.
Of course it is.
No,
but
no,
Casino, a Scorsese movie?
You haven't seen weird stuff. And by the way, Troy just admitted while you were joking that he hadn't seen it.
Yes, I've seen it 100 times. The lighting in that film makes me happy. I love that movie.
It is the
Hey, we beat it. We
best.
pound on the veal, and he gets his dick sucked in the car. It's the greatest.
Yeah. But you watch that movie. The whole movie is based on how much Vegas was changing.
Totally changed. The Tangiers.
The Tangiers.
Like when you show up in 1947, what was it? It wasn't a little bit of a
I've seen
dusty
parts.
cow town. It was. What was it like?
A dusty cow town.
See, he gave him the answer.
A dusty cow town.
he's like you hit the nail right on the head there. A dusty cow.
Also, if you go back and listen to the question, he changed the question like 3 times because he can't figure out what he wants to ask Jerry.
He's asking like
actual answer.
He's asking like Piper. Just when you think you've got the answers, I change the questions. And then he just answers with the question.
That was brilliant by Jerry Lewis. A dusty cow.
Like how would you describe the place? Like when you show up in 1947, what was it? It wasn't a little bit of a dusty cow town. It was. What was it like?
A dusty cow town.
And do you still think of it as a sort of dusty cow town?
No.
And how about?
Okay, hit pause. The reporter.
See, he did make him change his stance that it's the same.
He's trying. The reporter's trying to get him to a place like that. Was kind of a smart ass answer. So because before you just said nothing's changed, and now you said it's Dusty Cow Town. Do you still think it's a Dusty Cow Town? So now he's contradicted himself. But Jerry Lewis appears to still not give a fuck.
He doesn't care.
No.
Is performing in Vegas now for you different than it was then? Like just either the mechanics or the size of the.
No.
And how about what's your audience like? You know, now you're still performing. You're 90. What's your audience like? Who are your fans? Are they different than they used to be?
No, they're still the same.
But you must have younger fans who.
Some are younger.
What do you think it is? Do you have any that attracts you to younger fans? Like how have you sort of
attracts you to younger fans?
Yeah, he's just fucking.
It attracts younger fans to you. Why would you just said Jerry Lewis is attracted to younger fans?
No matter what the reporter did, literally, if the reporter smashed his head with a fucking flower pot, I wouldn't fault him.
Wouldn't that be great?
Just a fucking.
What do you want from me here? And he grabs a flower pot and smashes it over his head.
Yeah, it's kind of hard though to call out Jerry Lewis, but when once you know the interview's done. It would have been interesting to hear him go, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your audience over the years.
You tell them you're playing there and they show up.
And nothing different than that?
No.
How about, you've had a long and distinguished career. Do you have a favorite period of your career, a part of your career you look back on as a moment when you were favorite, happiest, or your most creative?
What do you mean?
Well, is there a period in your career that you look back on?
Clear question.
Yeah, he just couldn't think of a fast answer, like a one-word answer.
Your happiest time or your favorite time?
When my partner was alive.
When your partner was alive. So working with Dean Martin, was that your favorite?
Yep.
Part of your career?
Yep.
What made that partnership work for you? Like, what was?
I'll show you some material, you'll know.
But if I'm not looking at the material, can you give me like a sense of like how it worked for you?
It was terrific.
That is the most nondescript answer. I mean, you talk about not helpful statements. Can you give me, like, if I'm not looking at footage, can you tell me what terrific is just a shitty, nondescript word.
So what was so great about it? It was terrific.
It was terrific.
Do we have any Dean? Find me some Dean and Jerry footage. Like I watching some last night.
I mean, if it was
just different.
If it's up to me, that interview is playing on a loop on Jerry Lewis's tombstone. That should be his legacy. I love that interview.
He was so much different. Watch it in like black and white, goofing off or whatever.
Get these boys on because they've done a couple of great shows.
Let's see if it's really
Bob Hope.
Let's judge if this is actually terrific. I don't know. There they
They're
are.
very happy,
skipping and dancing, and he's kissing Bob Hope.
Yeah,
making out with him.
Just being a spaz.
Yeah.
All right, it's time.
Bob Hope hit him.
For the old timers to sit down. Yeah, the younger generation. A little wake up music.
See, this is when they were
They're doing like a dance.
You had to be a showman back then. You had to be able to say a song and dance man.
Bing, Crosby, Bing Frisbee, here, fellow, boy, young man, here, innkeeper, find that boy. Bob,
People should try to do shit like this now, just fucking go crazy.
Should be our next live event.
Yeah, Jim and me just come out and start doing song and dances and stuff and making out with whoever's promoting, like the club.
Listen, when did they cut this?
I can see Jerry Lewis was exhausting to be around.
Exhausting. Just exhausting.
I was watching a clip of him. There was one of them where they're on a soundstage. They're doing a live show.
Yeah.
And there was someone like Jerry Lewis was a kid, and they're trying to get him to drink his milk. And you could see they had really good chemistry together. Like, they were funny together. And he was obviously a machine on stage. He was just an animal.
Did you like him at all growing up, or was this
No,
something
he was
you
before
found
my
much
time.
later?
No, I liked Richard Pryor. I mean, he was before my time. I knew who he was.
Right.
And you respected him. He was, but by the time I was 10 or 11 in the 70s, he wasn't seen necessarily. He was the guy who did the telethons.
He was an elder statesman at that point.
Well, yeah, telephone guy. You just he wasn't. He was not. He wasn't really making me laugh.
Right.
And I never really give a shit about his movies.
I think he made a couple $2 billion off those telethons from
2.5.
He didn't make it.
Well, for the
he
people.
made it.
He made him off.
Well, yeah, he made it though. He earned it. He got everybody to call.
I would love to know the story behind him leaving.
The telethon?
He never talked about it because they replaced him. They didn't give him a final show. They didn't give him a goodbye.
That is weird.
Well, what are you gonna do? Interview him
Maybe he
about
just
it?
quit.
No, he didn't quit because he never spoke about it, and people that were close to him said that he was just devastated.
Did they just take it from him without telling him why? I mean, how could they be such cunts unless he fucking did something awful?
Or he was too old. Maybe he was uncomfortable.
But you
to
let him.
watch.
You let him leave a certain way. It's Jerry Lewis.
You at least give him a goodbye.
Maybe he didn't want to goodbye. Maybe he didn't want to leave. I'm not leaving. I'm not doing a goodbye.
Muscular
thing.
dystrophy. They announced he was stepping down as the host. He made it to personal soapbox. In 45 years he did that. They were cut down from 21.5 hours to just 6. And he was being replaced by a quartet of hosts. Maybe because also it just wasn't watched anymore or talked about. It used to be, the Jerry Lewis telethon used to be a big thing. You'd go, oh my God, who's going to be on it? That meant something. Now, no one. You don't give a shit who's on it. It kind of became a punchline. Jerry's Kids. Like, no one cared after a while who was doing it.
But regardless of why they were going to replace him, after, what did you just say, 40-something years?
45 years.
You don't give him a chance to say goodbye?
Unless he didn't want to say goodbye. Like, he's like, I'm not leaving.
I really
want
wonder
to say goodbye.
I really wonder if he wanted to step down.
I mean, I think if he wanted to step down, then he would have talked about it in interviews. He refused to talk about it at length, ever.
It was a 3-hour show.
Refused to talk about anything at length.
No. It was terrific.
It was terrific. What did you like about those telethons? They were good.
Wow.
The phones.
Jerry Lewis's name is not mentioned anywhere in that telethon that they did.
That's a little mysterious.
Again, I don't want to just throw the people under the bus.
You almost called him a piece of shit.
I did, but again, seeing how Jerry Lewis is or was, you can't just blame them. You don't know what he did behind the scenes.
You think he could have ruffled feathers?
Yeah, but a few things have become clear. He was dumped by the MDA. The charity had been identified with since the 50s, and he's still bitter about it, and the telethon is withering without him. So
Did they do it? Did they do telethons on YouTube? You could go right back to doing it 21.5 hours. You could do 24 hours.
Wow.
You just do it on YouTube. Have people tweet in donations.
Jerry's goodbye appearance was scrapped after he and the charity could not agree on its format and length. Lewis wanted to do it live. The MDA floated several pre-tape options. These fucking, you know what? It's probably some young executive
trying to save money.
Oh, pre-tape. No, just to be safe. All insulting.
I bet they were trying to save some money.
Maybe.
That's probably why they brought it down to 6 hours instead of 21.5 hours. Pre-taping is much cheaper than doing a live show.
Or maybe they were afraid of what he was going to say live. He may have been mad, and you know, who knows?
Just mumbling shit.
Yeah, he's very difficult to deal with.
No.
His annual Labor Day orgy of sentiment, self-regard, and showbiz schmaltz was for many years something of a punchline. Yeah, exactly. You know why they love Jerry Lewis in France? A comedian told me not long ago in France they don't get a telethon. Okay. Yeah, I guess it was a little too schmaltzy.
Yeah, I mean...
$2 billion, a lot.
Yeah, but they probably made $2 billion in like the first 10 or 15 years of it and then made the extra 0.5 over the next 40.
Maybe.
It was a big deal in the 80s. I remember it.
Yeah, it was. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
But 21 hours cut down to 3.
It was a big deal in the 80s, but when did they finally let it go? When did he get the boot?
But why was someone came in and just replaced him, and he was probably a cunt to them, the new person he probably want to listen to. What do you mean you're cutting it down? No, you're not. And they just were like, fuck you, you're out.
They should have brought in Mike Myers and Kanye West to co-host it.
That would have been interesting.
I love them on telethons together. Oh, yeah. They're the best.
Who would tell Joe? Is this Jerry Lewis? I can't see because the writing's too big. Is this about Jerry Lewis? Yankees, I can't see your name, the first one.
Oh, boy.
Can I hear you?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hey, I went to see the play Damn Yankees in Baltimore. Jerry Lewis played the devil. You know the play?
Fuck yeah! Oh, Chip knew the role. I know the play, I've never seen it.
Yep, so anyway, after intermission, he came out and did this soft shoe thing. Now, I was no big fan of Jerry Lewis, right? He came out and told jokes while he was dancing around for like 20 minutes, and he killed it. I mean, as funny as anything you've ever heard in your life. He was fantastic.
How many years ago?
Would have been early 90s.
He was probably annoyed.
He was funny.
He was probably annoyed that by then, like when he was coming up, he had to be a song and dance man and tell jokes and do everything. And now this new era is just grabbing a mic and talking about dick and balls, and you could still be like, you could be the man, you know what I mean? You didn't have to sing, you didn't have to dance, you didn't have to do any show business stuff anymore because people thought, you know, people were over it.
Thank you very much.
I'd be mad if I had to be like a jack of all trades and to get over, and then I look around and the people getting over now are just a guy with a microphone just telling jokes.
But just not to speak to Dean Martin, like 1962, 65, they weren't talking at all. I guess they both had viable show business careers.
I don't know why that's so unbelievable to you.
20 years is a long time. It just in the span of his showbiz career, 20 years to be with someone for 10, and then to not talk for 20, is a long time. It just seems to me like a long period of time. But it also gives you hope as a performer, because he was literally, you know, I'm 49. You start looking at your own. Oh, I forgot he was fat for a while from the. When he had the fucking injections.
Oh.
No, that was from steroids. Yeah, what did he say here about his split from Dean Martin?
Jacked up?
Yeah.
Getting
he
his pump on? Oh.
He had something.
Well, the breakup was inevitable. And I spirited the breakup. I mean, I was really responsible for breaking it up because I knew that it was going to have its finality very quickly. Simply because if the tables were turned and I was Dean Martin and Dean was Jerry, we'd have split up maybe 5 years earlier. See, Dean was an incredibly patient man and incredibly understanding in that we opened at the Copa and they wrote a full-page review about Jerry Lewis. I don't know that they mentioned Dean other than he sang a few songs. And he took that kind of treatment for 10 years.
It's like when
Jerry
Sirius
this,
XM puts
Jerry's the
Jason
guy.
Ellis on the bad data instead of
not Sam Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it though.
Yeah, it's like the fucking Copa all over. I'm fucking Dean Martin over here. Fuck that.
I wish you were Dean Martin over there.
You mean in current form?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Silly kid, Jerry. Jerry's the businessman. Jerry operates he writes, produces, whatever, and it was always Jerry.
Oh, it's
I couldn't have.
Dean probably got sick of that shit.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Dean wasn't a comedian, though, was he?
Yeah, I mean, they all did like a little bit of everything back
Right.
then.
I mean, even Frank Sinatra told jokes and stuff like that, but you don't consider Dean Martin a comedian now.
No. I mean,
but he was part of this was a comedy team.
Oh, legit.
Yeah.
A legit comedy team.
Have taken that. Wait a minute. I'm here too. The most underestimated great talent in the history of show business was Dean.
That's what they say about me.
He took it for 10 years. And then finally, he just wanted to get out on his own and do his work and be acknowledged for that work. To forget that he sang and mention only the crazy stuff they did together, that's terrible. And it was unfair. And I said, this is going to explode before too long. And I went to Dean and I said, look, we're not getting along now only because there's some undercurrent here where you would like to just step out and be acknowledged as an individual performer with talent, and you are. And I want to do some other things too. Let's just.
I think Jerry also thought he probably didn't need Dean at that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
I'm
very
the talent.
This is the very political version of what actually happened.
Yeah, I'm sure Dean's gone probably by this point.
Dean's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis wanted to go out and get some checks and not keep splitting checks for his comedy gigs.
Yeah, he probably was like, I can go out and do this with anybody. Yeah, but Martin and Lewis was a fucking. When do you think this was? Probably in the 80s.
This interview?
Let's see here.
What year did Dean Martin die? We should break because I want to eat and piss.
I think he died in 94.
Oh, okay. It's after 94.
Yeah.
Because he keeps saying was.
Was.
I like that version of Jerry Lewis, a little chubby.
Well,
he
yeah,
withered away in the last 20 years.
Well, that's
95. Christmas 95.
Oh, so that's right after Dean Martin died, like a year or so after. Yeah, I mean, that's when he's like older, but not old yet, you know?
Totally with it.
Yeah.
He really liked orange.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, at some point it's enough.
It's a comedian's
Fucking-
color. It's a clown nose color.
Yeah.
Terrific.
It's terrific.
I'm going to start wearing orange.
This is the same outfit he wore. Look.
Oh, my God. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
What did he say on his death? Let me hear it. We'll go to Brad.
The day.
To the day. You were still incredibly popular on stage together. Could have continued on. But you guys don't see each other again for 20 years.
20 years.
Until the MDA telethon in 1976.
Right.
How'd that happen?
That was Frank. Frank took care of that.
Sinatra.
Yeah. He thought it was about time we stopped this nonsense. I introduced Frank, brought him on. Sweet. He read a beautiful letter from one of his grandchildren. I loved that. And then I said something to Frank about why is it that whenever we're together, I have a feeling you're doing something I don't know about. And right on the tail of that statement, he said, let me interrupt you and let me just bring out a friend of mine I brought over. We send my friend out here, and out walks Dean. And I just looked up to heaven and said, dear God, give me something to say. And I looked at him, I said, you working? So it was a good start.
He's much
happier here. It's the
much
same
better.
outfit, even though he's sinking into himself. Old people have a thing when they sit, they
Yeah.
literally just look like collapsible dolls.
Yeah.
He can't sit up straight.
I'll tell you what Jerry Lewis and his telethon's problem was. He didn't keep making friends that were younger than him into his age. All his show business friends started dying. He had nobody left to do the telethon.
Yeah, that's probably what it was, too. He was probably too cranky. For young people, didn't give a fuck about him, so like, shut up, Jerry.
Right. Like he used to. Like everybody watched that shit in the 70s because all the cool people would go on it. And then in the 80s, people were still kind of talking about it, but by the time the 90s, nobody cared anymore.
No.
Oh my God. Speaking of Jeff Ross, by the way, I saw him last night. He was at Jeff Ross was at SummerSlam last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there with Michael Che.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, there were a bunch of. I don't know if it's famous. There were a bunch. Macaulay Culkin was there with rabbit ears on for some reason.
That's cute.
Yeah, I don't know why. He's just walking around wearing rabbit ears. And Lin-Manuel Miranda was there, the Hamilton guy.
Yeah, him I would like to meet.
Yeah, he was there backstage last night just hanging.
Did you talk to him?
I just said hello. I didn't talk to him much. But a lot of people were around there.